back to sugarpienellie. I'm just enjoying a little bit of coffee this morning, and I am fixing to get started on a down-home good country recipe. Cheeseburger pizza on sweet sourdough crust. The kids are gonna go ballistic. So, you guys, let me tell you something. If you have never tried Life Boost coffee, you need to go get you a bag, okay? Subscribe to that. Especially this one is my absolutely most favorite coffee in the entire world. But it is the blueberry crumble that they have, and it tastes so much like blueberries. Sometimes I even mix it into like a little latte that I have, like with chocolate, and that blueberry taste actually comes through that chocolate, and it is amazing. They have a lot of good flavors. I think we probably got about 6 or 7 of their flavors on hand. We really like it. And I like it because it's got clean ingredients, and especially something that you're putting in your body every single morning, sometimes afternoon. You do want to make sure that you are putting good, clean, non-toxic ingredients into your system like that, especially if it's daily. So, and they also give a portion of the proceeds to the environment and things like that. So you guys really do need to check that out, and it is delicious. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started on this pizza. So you guys go ahead and grab your aprons and let's get started. For our dough, we're gonna get started on our pizza dough first. The first thing that you want to do is add 2 cups of hot water to a mixing bowl. You can knead this by hand, but if you have a KitchenAid or any type of stand-up mixer like this, it does make the process a lot quicker. So we're gonna add that 2 cups of hot water, and then 2/3 cups of sugar. Just give that a little stir. And then to that, we are going to add 1½ tablespoons of active dry yeast. Now, this is also a sourdough recipe, but this is both. It uses a little bit of the regular yeast, and then it also uses sourdough starter. This is more like an Amish type sweet bread. And we're gonna make it into a pizza crust today, but it's absolutely amazing. But if you guys are interested in 100% sourdough recipes, please remember that I just came out with my brand new course. It's 100% sourdough making course. It covers everything you need to know to get you started on the world of making sourdough breads. I will leave a link in the description for that if you would like to check that out. So as for now, we're just going to leave this sitting for about 15 minutes, and then we will come back after that. Okay, now we are ready to add our remaining ingredients, and we are going to add a 1/4 cup of avocado oil, 1½ teaspoons of salt, and you will need an active starter, but I add a couple of tablespoons of that. And then go ahead and give that just a little spin to make sure that that starter gets kind of combined and dissolved in there before we go on with our flour. Okay, and then we are going to add just half of the flour. and give that a quick spin. Now we're going to change to the dough hook. Now remember, if you're doing this by hand, you would just stir this part with a good whisk or a spoon, and then you would add your flour, and then you would knead this by hand. And you would actually need to knead that for about 15 minutes. Or you can use the dough hook if you've got a stand-up mixer, and it literally just takes like a minute or two. Okay, and then we lock that in place if you're using the mixer. And now you're gonna mix that until a nice ball of dough forms and it's kind of bouncing around the bowl. And then that's how you know it's ready for the next step. Want to take a good sized bowl so we can let that dough rise, and I go ahead and drizzle with my avocado oil. This thing is nice for that, but you just drizzle that into a bowl, and then we are going to add just a little bit of flour to the countertop. Okay, it is just a tad bit sticky, and that's because it contains a little bit of that sourdough starter, which is very normal for sourdough breads. So you just need to give this kind of like a short kneading here, nothing big or fancy, just pretty much just shaping it into a ball. Try to get it as smooth as possible there. And then you will just place that right into your bowl. Give it a flip. And then we're just going to cover this with a dish towel in a warm spot and let that sit for about an hour. And then we will come back and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, now that it's been setting for about an hour, we are going to go on to our next step. Now, I did want to mention that if you are planning on making a bread loaf out of this, you can do that too and just follow me along. Or you can make 2 to 4 pizzas out of this dough, depending on how thin that you want the crust. I am actually making a loaf of bread because we do need an extra loaf on hand this week. So I'm going to go ahead and make a loaf of bread out of half of this dough. And then the other half, I am going to create a pizza. So that's totally up to you guys. So if you're making the bread, then all you're going to do is grease your loaf pan, and you can use butter, or you can just do like I'm doing and brush some avocado oil in there. That works too. And then all you're going to do is cut this dough in half. So you want to put just a little flour on your counter. And then just pull this out. And then we're just going to cut this dough in half. Let me get you to where you can see here. Okay, I think you can see a little better there. All right, so what we're going to do is just cut this dough in half. So this will be our pizza dough, and you can cut this in half and make 2 pizzas if you want. And then this one is going to be our bread. So for the bread, I'm just patting that out. And then I do have a whole video on how to make the sweet sandwich loaf. If you want to look up that recipe, it's the same ingredients and everything, and I'll show you step by step on how to do that one. So just roll that up like in a jelly roll. And then you place that one in the loaf pan. And then pretty much just let that sit for about an hour, and then you'll bake it for 25 minutes. So there is that. Now, for the pizza, You're going to want a parchment paper. And then I'm going to cut this in half for 2 pizzas. So here's the first one. And I'm just going to roll that out on here. Now you can do, if you have a pizza stone or anything, you can roll that out to a round pizza if you want to. I am actually using a bacon sheet, and we're just going to do one big large rectangle pizza. So you can use both halves of this if you want like a really thick crust, but I'm actually going to do that for a little bit thinner because it will rise a little bit. Now for your pizza crust, instead of waiting an hour like on the bread over here, you only let this rise for about 30 minutes and then you will bake it. So let's cover that part up. And then just use some kind of little roller, rolling pin, whatever you have, and just roll that out. Now this is just the way I do it. I know everybody and their mama has their way of doing pizza crust, how they want it. But around here, it doesn't have to be perfect. This thing, as soon as you pull it out of the oven, it is gone. In a matter of minutes, this sucker is gone. So it don't matter. So I'm just going to keep it about like that because remember, it looks a little thin, but remember this will rise for the next 30 minutes. So you don't want that to rise too much for pizza dough. So we're just going to leave it like that. And then you can do the same thing for a second one. You want to make a different pizza or a second one? That is perfectly fine too. You can also actually twist these or roll them into breadsticks and maybe put a little garlic butter on the top. If you wanted to do that, you could do that too. So take your baking sheet and then we're just going to put this on here and then let that rise 30 minutes. And while this is rising, this is a cheeseburger pizza, so I am going to be browning 1 pound of ground beef and then going ahead and browning up half a pack of bacon because it's also going to have some crumbled bacon on the top of there. So while this is rising for the next 30 minutes, that's a good time to get that done. All right, the hamburger's going, so I am getting started on a little bit of bacon to go with that. I like cutting mine in half like that. If y'all have never tried that, it actually browns the bacon so much better. It's just a little trick if you like crispier bacon. So just put that in there. And then I like to sprinkle mine with a little bit of pepper. And just take this up on dried paper towels when it's done. And we're going to set the hamburger and the bacon aside until after the dough is finished baking. So, but as for now, we still got 15-20 minutes, guys, on the bread. See how crispy they come out? Okay, and when that's through, you just want to take up your bacon and your hamburger, and we'll just lay this to the side to get cool. Don't forget to save that bacon grease. Now, we use bacon that's no sugar, and then it has like the no nitrates and everything in it, so I feel very comfortable still using that bacon grease in certain recipes. like apples and onions. But just lay this to the side, and once it cools down, it should be about time to top our pizza. Okay, the first thing that we want to do is to your pizza crust, we are going to add some rosemary. I love how it really flavors that crust. So just sprinkle some of that on there. And then this will be the pasta sauce of your choice. You're just going to spread that on your pizza. Now, I have one other option here that you might want to consider sometimes. But if you don't want the pasta sauce like this for your cheeseburger pizza, you can also think of kind of like a Big Mac pizza and use that copycat version of Big Mac sauce. Spread all over your pizza crust, and then your hamburger and your onions and your cheese or whatever you want to put on there, and have yourself a Big Mac pizza. That is another cool option. So here's this. And then we are going to spread our beef all over the top. And then this is to your liking, guys. Like, my kiddos don't really care for the onions and stuff on the pizza, so I am actually leaving that off. But throw them on there. If you like that, put that on there. So the toppings is totally your preference. So, and then I'm going to crumble up some of this bacon all over the top. This is just kind of a simple, down-home, little country pizza. Just however much is to your liking. And then I have shredded some Vermont cheddar, and I'm going to spread that all over the top. And then crust and rolls and things like that. A loaf of bread takes around 25 minutes to bake, but things like this and rolls and cinnamon rolls, whatever you do with that other half of the bread, it normally only takes around 15 minutes for those. So we are going to put this in the oven. It's 350 degrees for around 15 to 20 minutes. All right, check this out, you guys. There you have it. All right, that looks so scrumptious, but I want to show you how this crust, see how it browns up on the bottom just perfectly? So this bread dough is absolutely amazing, you guys. You can use that with so much stuff. So this pizza is so versatile, this crust. You can do anything with that, you guys. You can make pepperoni pizza, this hamburger pizza we made, barbecue chicken pizza. Just put barbecue sauce in place of the pasta sauce. And then I put you some shredded chicken, pineapple. Is that the controversial thing of this year? Pineapple on pizza or not? Put it down in the comments. Do you guys like pineapple on your pizza? I do. I love it. My kiddos, my hubby, not so much. So normally they win and I don't put it on the pizza. But if it was left up to me, I think it's good. All right. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today, and I hope you enjoy the pizza. And put it down in the comments if you've tried it for you and your family. I love knowing when you try my recipes and how it turned out for you. If you ever have any questions on any of the recipes, put it down in the comments or message me. I'm on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, you name it. You can also send me an email. It's at sugarpienellie@gmail.com. And I love hearing from you guys, and I love all your feedback. So you guys have a blessed day, and I'll see you back here next time on Sugar Pie Nellie.